Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Canal Days, What Life Was Like in the Industrial Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining us today is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Como. He personally offers and leads public and private tours, as well as presentations of historical sites throughout communities in the state of Massachusetts. Currently, the communities he has chosen to focus on this year are Holyoke, Chicopee, South Hadley, and East Hampton, and also Granby and Amherst as well. And his tours spotlight the local canals, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks, streets, and selected historical houses within each community. So in today's episode, we'll be discussing the burial grounds of Springfield, Massachusetts, located throughout the city. So give us a brief summary of the Catholic cemeteries in the city.
Well, you can imagine this topic is so vast, and what I'm going to do for presentations is that I'm going to have a 5-part presentation, hopefully within Springfield, spread out over maybe 4 years. And I'm going to break down each of these parts so that I'll give a presentation one year called the Catholic Cemeteries of Springfield, the next year Protestant Cemeteries of Springfield, Jewish, Native American cemeteries of Springfield area, and then a last one about all the cemeteries that used to be in Springfield, but the land is now gone into other communities, but the cemeteries existed while Springfield still owned that land. So even that is a vast topic. So these are all vast topics. You almost don't wonder, could I even put into 5 presentations? But the Catholic cemeteries are many. They include, for instance, the very first cemetery in Western Massachusetts for Catholics, and that's St. Matthew's Cemetery. That's on the Chicopee border. And then the St. Benedict Cemetery, very soon thereafter, came next. And that was strongly associated, both of them were to St. Michael's Church. But the St. Matthew's Cemetery was also a diocesan cemetery. All right, and then other ones around the area, of course, St. Michael's Cemetery, then the St. Joseph's Polish National Cemetery, right, which is very important, and the newest of all, the Gates of Heaven Cemetery. Now, there's 2 very peculiar ones that I should mention here, and what they are sure cemeteries, but they're more churchyards or crypts that are owned by the Catholic Church. So, for instance, the Cathedral of St. Michael the Archangel churchyard has 2 priests buried at the front door of that St. Michael's Church. Right, and then also the St. Augustine Mortuary Chapel is in the basement underneath the altar area of the St. Michael's Church, and the first 3 bishops of the Catholic diocese are in that crypt. And then there's also the Sacred Heart Churchyard, which has the founder pastor buried alongside its left hand. And so the topic itself is absolutely vast.
And can you now describe to us the various Protestant cemeteries throughout Springfield?
Yes, I'll try to as best I can, especially the ones that still exist. The one that is the oldest in Springfield that has never been moved is the Cherry Lane Cemetery. And that's very interesting to visit because most of the gravestones now are flush with the ground. Right, and then there's also a garden-style cemetery called the Hillcrest Park. Right, there's an old-style one called Maplewood. There's a gigantic garden-style cemetery called Oak Grove. And there is the prototype of them within Western Massachusetts. That's a garden-style, and that's the Springfield Cemetery. So Springfield has 3 garden-style cemeteries, plus 1 possible Catholic one, that is 2. And then it also has the Wauchogue Cemetery. Now, it has One more I'll talk about, and that's the Bay Path Cemetery. But that cemetery is a potter's field in its entirety, where paupers were buried there, and there might be up to multiple hundreds of paupers buried there, 500, 600, 700 of them.
And really quick, before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there you can find podcasts and videos of the stops along each of his tours, as well as photos and text of the historical sites throughout as well. And for other inquiries or to sign up for a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, and his tours make for fun, educational, outdoor activities for families and group parties. So getting back to our interview, now can you list for us the Jewish cemeteries within the city of Springfield?
Yes, I will. And keep in mind there's an additional 3 more cemeteries in West Springfield where the synagogue is based in Springfield. It used to be based in Springfield. So there's even more than you may think. But presently there are 3 Jewish cemeteries in a row on Wilbraham Road, and they are the City of Home Cemetery, which is actually owned by society. Then there's the Kessler Israel Cemetery, which is the oldest Jewish cemetery in Springfield from 1908. And then the Sons of Israel Cemetery. Now, also there's one more Jewish cemetery on Cottage Street, and it's very recent. It's called the Sinai Memorial Park, and there they're trying to keep the stones flush with the ground also.
And now can you tell us about the Native American burial grounds within the old boundaries of the city?
Yes, there's going to be many Native American burials within Springfield and the surrounding area. Well, like you probably know, Springfield was, when it first was made, an enormous place back in the 1630s. And about 25 communities that surround it made up Springfield. But burial grounds have been found in many of those communities, including one in Holyoke, where at one location only 61 burials were found, and that was Depot Hill, behind the present-day railroad station. Also, a large burial ground was found in Westfield, towards the western edge along the Westfield River. Right, and then among a lot of other places, you have found other burials. So this is a vast topic by itself. There are so many burials around.
And also, now can you explain the old burial grounds of Springfield that are now outside of the city's boundaries?
There are many of those, and the reason why is that a lot of towns broke off of Springfield, and they had cemeteries inside them already when they broke off. Like, for instance, West Springfield broke off and became its own town in the year 1774, but by then it already had at least 2 cemeteries within it. Agawam also has one very old cemetery, Federal Hill, that probably is older than 1774. In Holyoke, there's a cemetery called the Baptist Cemetery, later called Elmwood Cemetery, and that was formed in 1730, before West Springfield broke off from Springfield. So like you can see, there are many. There's one in Long Meadow. There are some even in Connecticut, because many towns in northern Connecticut were part of Springfield. So this topic is absolutely vast, and you can see why I'm breaking the topic into 5 different presentations spread over many years, because it's an enormous topic.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tour and historical topics of expertise. And we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And you can check out a large selection of other podcasts on his website, as well as on SoundCloud.com. So, thank you for